FIFA just blew up the most famous tournament in sports history. Not a little tweak, not a minor update, a complete overhaul. And depending on who you ask, it's either the greatest thing to happen to football or the beginning of the end. Here's the thing, the World Cup has looked basically the same since 1998. So why, after 26 years, did FIFA suddenly decide to tear the whole thing apart? What are they actually changing? And is this secretly brilliant, or is it just about money? The World Cup used to be 32 teams. Every 4 years, 32 teams. Group stage of 8 groups. Top 2 from each group advance. That's it, clean, logical, everyone understood it. And for decades, it was untouchable. The most watched sporting event on the planet. Over 5 billion people watched the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, 5 billion. So when something is pulling those kinds of numbers, the sensible thing to do is leave it alone, right? Right, yeah, FIFA did not leave it alone. In 2017, FIFA President Gianni Infantino announced the 2026 World Cup would expand from 32 to 48 teams. Almost 50% more teams, just like that. And the immediate reaction from the football world was skeptical, let's say. Politely skeptical. Less politely, a lot of fans just said, why? The arguments for expansion sound great on paper. More countries get to participate. Football becomes more global. Nations that have never been to a World Cup finally get their shot. Countries like Kosovo, Luxembourg, or Bolivia, nations with real football cultures, have never touched the tournament. In theory, it's beautiful. More inclusion, more stories, more upsets, more football. In practice, it gets complicated because 48 teams doesn't divide neatly into the old format. So they designed something new. 16 groups of 3 teams. The top 2 from each group advance. That gives you 32 teams. Going into a round of 32, the problem with groups of 3, every group comes down to the last game. 2 teams play and the loser might still advance, which means both teams have an incentive to play for a draw. And football fans have a very specific word for that kind of game, boring. We've seen it before. The 1982 World Cup, West Germany versus Austria. Both teams needed a 1-0 German win to advance. Germany scored early. Then both teams basically stopped playing for over an hour. Fans booed. Journalists called it a disgrace. FIFA changed the rules after that. All group stage, final games had to be played simultaneously. A group of 3 brings that problem back. One match always plays before the other, and the loser already knows the exact result they need. FIFA said they'd address this. How? Still not entirely clear. FIFA is not a charity. The expansion from 32 to 48 teams means roughly 80 extra games in the tournament. More games equals more broadcast rights. More broadcast rights equals more money. The 2026 World Cup is projected to generate over $11 billion in revenue. That's almost double what Qatar made in 2022. So yes, part of this is about football's growth, but part of this is also just math. Gianni Infantino has never exactly hidden that FIFA wants to grow revenue, and expanding the World Cup is the single biggest lever they can pull. The cynical read? This is a cash grab dressed up as inclusion. The generous read? It's both. And both things can be true at the same time. The expansion doesn't just help small football nations. It reshuffles the entire global football map. CONCACAF, that's North and Central. America and the Caribbean goes from 3.5 spots to 6. Africa jumps from 5 spots to 9. Asia goes from 4.5 to 8.5. Europe actually gets cut. Relative to the other confederations, European teams now make up a smaller percentage of the field. For context, 72% of all World Cup winners have come from Europe or South America. 2 continents out of 6. Expansion won't change who wins immediately, but it changes who gets to show up. And showing up is step 1. Now here's the argument that keeps football purists up at night. More teams means weaker teams in the tournament. Right now, a team like Saudi Arabia shocking Argentina is a massive upset. It's iconic. Why? Because Saudi Arabia barely made it to the World Cup. It meant something to be there. Every point in the group stage was precious. With 48 teams, getting to the World Cup becomes easier. And some people worry that if it's easier to qualify, the tournament itself feels cheaper. Like a trophy everyone can buy rather than one you have to earn. The counter-argument? Every World Cup has had weak group stage games. And every World Cup has still produced magic moments. More teams could mean more David versus Goliath stories, not fewer. A first ever World Cup goal for a country that's never had one before. That moment is worth something. It's genuinely a debate where both sides have a point, which is rare in football, honestly. The 2026 World Cup is the first under the new format. It's being hosted across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. 16 cities, 3 countries, over 100 games. It's going to be enormous, and everyone in football is watching, not just to see who wins, but to see whether this new format works. Whether the group stage is exciting or a snooze fest, whether the expanded field produces memorable new stories or just longer first rounds. FIFA is betting everything that bigger equals better. That's a bet they've placed before. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not. So we started with a question. Why did FIFA change the World Cup forever? Here's the 1-sentence answer. Because they could, because it makes money, and because maybe, just maybe, the game really does need to reach more of the world to stay relevant for the next 100 years. The tournament gets bigger in 2026. Whether it gets better is the question nobody can answer yet. Here's what I'll leave you with. The greatest moments in World Cup history didn't happen because of the format. format. They happen because of the players, the pressure, and the stories behind them. If expansion gives us more of those stories, a first ever World Cup goal for a nation of millions who've never had one, maybe that's worth the growing pains. Or maybe we're about to watch 80 forgettable extra games and wonder what we were thinking. Either way, it's going to be fascinating to watch. If you want more videos breaking down how football's biggest decisions actually get made, subscribe. New video coming very soon, and trust me, you're going to want to see it.